Chris Moore,
Yes.
the owner of Omafiets is the best way of introducing you, but bike riding enthusiast, but also one of the pioneers of this new wave of transportation in Australia. Would you call yourself that?
I don't know about pioneers, but certainly someone who's trying to move it forward and get more people riding bikes. Omafiets started in 2011 importing second-hand Dutch bikes from Europe, and the reason was that there just weren't a lot of practical commuting bikes in Australia, bikes with mudguards and racks and kickstands, and so we were bringing those in. Over the years we added more new bike brands, and we don't bring any second-hand bikes in anymore. A lot of brands have been adding cargo offerings over the years, so we now have half a dozen brands of cargo bikes here, and every year there's more and more coming out, so we're seeing new designs, more sophisticated designs of electric cargo bikes that allow people to essentially replace their car trips with a bike. I think originally electric bikes were really something for enthusiasts, and you had to get a kit and put it on your existing bike. It's really come a long way since then, and a lot of the big names like Bosch and Shimano have brought out much more reliable and more integrated drive systems and better batteries that seem to last a bit longer and give you more range. So that really has changed a lot, because it means you don't have to know a lot about electric bikes to ride one, and you can be fairly confident that they'll be more reliable than they were a decade ago. In our workshop we see probably about 2/3 non-electric and 1/3 electric at the moment. And of those electric, probably about, I would say, another third of that are cargo bikes. We don't see very many non-electric cargo bikes in Sydney, being so hilly. One brand that springs to mind who's really been innovating in that micromobility area is Brompton. So Brompton have been making folding bikes in London for decades, but in the last few years they've come out with their own electric bike, and that's really, I think, an important development, because it's such a small bike when it's folded up. It really allows people who live in tiny apartments or who have commutes which require them to put their bike in the bus or back in the car to bring that bike with them and have that electric assistance at the other end. I guess the most recent new cargo bike that we've had in the shop is the Moustache Lundi. That's a bike which is what I call a mid-tail, so it's got a longer rear rack that you can put 2 or up to 3 kids on. It's a small wheel bike, which means that the centre of gravity is quite low, and it's really nicely integrated. So all the cables are running inside the frame, and it's a very clean look. It doesn't look like a regular bike, but it rides really nicely, and it's, I think, for a lot of people, just what they need to ditch the car and get a bike. One of our biggest brands is Roos & Muller. They've been making electric bikes for many, many years, and we're excited about a couple of bikes that are about to arrive from there. I also really like a lot of their dual suspension bikes. People often think dual suspension is for mountain bikes only, but when you think about how many potholes there are on the roads, dual suspension actually makes a lot of sense just to keep your wheels planted all the time when you're riding, and also improve the comfort of the ride. I think a lot of people who are coming in looking at cargo bikes know about them because they've seen someone else riding them. Whether that's, one of their friends, or maybe at the school drop off and pick up, they're seeing someone else riding a cargo bike. And so they think, okay, well, maybe I'll try that, and they come in and they are specifically looking for something to carry their kids on, or their cargo, or whatever it is. So I think people have generally an idea that that's something they want to try. The key there is really that you need to have both carrots and sticks. So you need to be building the bike paths, you need to be, doing the cycling maps from the council, you need to have programs so people can try out bikes. But you also need to have, narrowing of the space available to cars and removing parking spaces, and you need to be decreasing the incentive for people to drive. If you're building huge motorways at the same time as you're building bike paths, then kind of hits the circle. I think you're getting people who don't think of themselves as cyclists, who are like, oh, well, I ride a bike, but they don't think of themselves as part of that category of cyclists. And the infrastructure is one of the main reasons for that. We actually just renovated our workshop about 2 weeks ago, and some of the things that we did were we put in electric stands. A lot of the electric bikes and the cargo bikes are a lot heavier, so to save the mechanics' backs, now we have the stands that electrically lift the bike up. Another thing is that you'll see a laptop on each of the benches, because a lot of those electric bikes need to get plugged into the computer to update the software and run the diagnostics. So that plus a lot of other very specialised tools. Place for people who've heard about electric bikes but don't necessarily know a lot about them, to come along and basically see what's on offer. Somewhere where people can try out some bikes, talk to people about what the technology is and what it might allow them to do if they have an electric bike, and hopefully convert a few people.